In this video, I want to share with you one part of PoEWit's Connected Smart Device Network, which are the cloud UPSs and PoE switches, and how they can enable third-party PoE load shedding. To set up the devices, we go to our app, and here you'll see different tabs, one for lighting, one for UPS, another one for PoE switch schedules and configuration. First, let's explore the UPS tab. As you can see, there are two UPS units already configured and installed. One is a U15 UPS and the other is a U22 UPS. So let's say we want to configure the U15 UPS and associate it with a PoEWit's PoE switch. What we would have to do is go into the settings and then hit edit. And from here, the app shows you basic information. If you want, you can rename your UPS, which by default just displays the serial number. It also shows you it is currently in line and not on battery mode, so it has utility power. Here, you could turn off the display on the UPS. Next, you see basic information on the voltage, the current, the frequency, and the load level, which is running at 3%, which is a very low level. Next, we see the battery information and runtime. Currently, we are at 100% battery capacity. Also, I have the option to power cycle the outlets on the UPS by using the slide bar. And finally, we can go into the advanced settings. From here, I can enable the emergency lighting feature. The main function of this feature is during an emergency power outage to send out a message to all the lights which have been previously programmed to go to a predetermined state. Lastly, the setting that we're most interested in is the emergency shutdown feature. Here we'll see a list of all my PoEWit's switches. In this case, I only have one on the network, which is a 48 port. I would make sure the checkbox is selected so that these two devices will follow each other on the network. From here, I could go to third-party PoE port load shedding, and with the slide bar, I can select what % battery I want before it takes action. I could go all the way down to 50%, 45%, and let's say when we reach 45% level, for example, start shutting down PoE ports. For this simulation, I want action to take place when the battery level is at 100%, so I wanted to start shutting down ports. Let's hit save and get out of the UPS tab. Next, I want to go into my switch interface. And in this case, I only have one switch, the NS48, that we saw previously. And from here, I go into the switch settings. All 48 ports will be displayed here. And just as a side note, whenever you see yellow color on the port icon, it means something is plugged into that port. And to further distinguish it, when you have a lightning bolt, it means it is drawing PoE power, so it is a PoE powered device that is plugged into that port. Another neat feature about the PoEWit's switch is that it automatically pulls the MAC name for every device. So if the device has a MAC address that is associated in the directory, it will pull it and it will tell you that it is plugged into the switch. Here we see that port 34 is an access camera. So let's go into this port because this is the one we want to load shed or shut down in an emergency power situation. One quick thing about the interface, you can also give it a custom name. Right now it is displaying port 34, but I could name it whatever I want. Also, I could power cycle the port by pressing this button. Here we see some basic network information, and it also displays how much power this camera is consuming. So this camera is taking 2.9 watts. And finally, we get down to the emergency shutdown checkbox. Here, if I select it, this port will now turn off when the UPS associated with it is on battery power. And then I just hit save. That's it. Now we have set up third-party load shedding using PoEWit's UPS and PoE switches. One last feature I want to show you about PoEWit's PoE switches is that it has perpetual PoE. So basically what that means is whenever I do a reboot of the switch for whatever reason, for maintenance or whatnot, the PoE power port will stay active. So it will continue to fully power the PoE devices connected. So for example, let's say I want to do maintenance on this switch and I go to the settings tab. Here's that 48 port that we've been talking about. If I go to the menu and I hit reboot, it will power cycle the switch. And given that it is a lighting controller and has a lot of lights attached to it, you don't want the lights to go off because somebody might be using them. So what our perpetual PoE feature will do is it will automatically keep the lights on, but the switch will reboot. If you like our videos, don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe. See you next time.